Welcome to He Did This to Me, the sports podcast from a father and son who happen to be mostly optimistic Knicks, Mets, and Jets fans. My name is Nick, a.k.a. Goody, and with me is my old man, a.k.a. the big guy, Noel. And just like his name, all we do is win. Let's get to the show. It's time to begin. The New York Knicks pulled off a trade this week to complete the Nova Quartet and bring in Mikal Bridges. Leon the Don, working in the shadows, goes and makes the move that many people did not think would ever happen. Brooklyn has not made a trade with the New York Knicks since before I was born, and he figures out a way to get it done. I know that you and I actually happen to be sitting right next to each other when I found out the news and then related to you. Talk to me, big guy. How we feeling about Mikal Bridges coming to the Knicks?
Very exciting news. I mean, again, Leon, he's just a man. I mean, the guy is good at what he does. I would have never thought bringing in a guy, a former agent like this, would be as prolific in what he does. And then the fact that he is so silent about how he does his business has been very beneficial to us. And it's also surprising coming from an agent. That said, I just think he's done a great job. And I think Mikal Bridges is going to really, it's just another like evolutionary step for these Knicks. And obviously he adds and keeps the culture intact. He's excellent as far as what we need as far as a player. I think he adds so many aspects to that first team, obviously starting team, but I think there are times when he can help out with some of the ball handling, and release some of the pressure off of Brunson.
Shot creation. If not
shot
just like
creation is fantastic.
right.
Yeah. He's really good at that. I was surprised at that sometimes this season. And then just listen, one of the main things, the defense, man. Our wing defense, the outstretched hands. We're going to get so many steals and dunks. And that's what I've always said to you. Every time we're having tough games, it's because we have too many of our baskets are difficult baskets, And now with this guy, with moving the ball, and he can put it on the floor and get to the basket by himself. He does that better than DiVincenzo and Hart, obviously.
Better than OG.
Yeah, he does. He shoots better than all three of those guys. But nobody's a slouch, No, I don't know that he shoots better, not from deep,
OG's three-point percentage. OG's three-point percentage is a little bit higher over his career. Ragu's actually is a little bit similar over the career, but last year Ragu, had a benchmark year when it came to his threes.
Yeah, but you're talking about percentages. I mean, if you could take into effect percentages plus how many more he
attempts,
took, and his percentage is that high, that's amazing. In any case, Mikal Bridges is a fantastic fit, man. I'm really surprised we got this done. I don't have any issue with the draft picks. You're talking about draft picks going out as far as 2030 or 31. Who cares?
Who cares?
You can always get back draft picks when you trade players, and when players age, you end up trading them. When players' contracts are advantageous, just like with Bogey, you end up trading them. I'm not worried about that at all.
Sorry about that, folks. Big guy, you were talking about how our draft picks are going to be in the 20s anyway?
Yes. I mean, listen, if everything goes as planned, unless we have catastrophic injuries of some kind, we're going to be, in the 50-win range and up going forward. I don't think that's being overly optimistic. I think that we're going to be up there. So the draft picks are just not an issue. I mean, you know what? And this is more genius from Leon Rose. He saved all those draft picks so he could whip somebody to death with them when needed. Okay, that's all they are. It's just currency. And you know what? If you ask me, would I rather be a team with all those draft picks or a good core of players? Come on, there's no comparison. So kudos to Leon Rose. My good friend John Moore. I was telling him. I said Leon Rose for president. I said, where can I get an 8x10 glossy of him that I can frame and put up in my house? And John Moore just responded that he's getting a Leon Rose tattoo. So there you go.
How happy are we that we didn't, blow our load with these picks on Donovan Mitchell?
And that's the other thing I thought about, Nick. Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he's a very good player, and I still see people online saying, "Oh, we should have gotten Spider. Oh, he wants to come to New York. He's a New Yorker, and all this." Listen to me. If we had gotten him, we would not have gotten Jalen Brunson. Is that not correct?
I don't know about that. That summer, we were in position to be able to sign both of them, to get both of them.
I'm so glad we didn't, Nick. He's not a great defender. And both of those small guys in the backcourt, that would severely hamper us. With this guy, Mikal Bridges, he partners with Brunson so much better. And listen, but the both of them playing together, clearly there's a better, more symbiotic relationship, both in game and in mind, with him and Brunson. So, I mean, there's no comparison. If we had thrown all that at Donovan Mitchell, again, man, we are just so much better at how we're building a team than we've been in so many years. Since I think the last guy who was a halfway decent GM, and I don't even think he's as good as Leon Rose, you won't even remember, is Dave Checketts.
Dave Checketts was good. Ernie Grunfeld should get a little bit of love.
Good. Ernie Grunfeld was good. That's right. I should give Ernie some love. But but besides them, I don't want to hear the words Scott Layden or
hey,
we won't name the other guys.
We don't say those names. Listen, Donovan Mitchell is 6'3". He misses a ton of games, and instead we got Mikal Bridges, who is younger, is 6'8", 6'9". Some people say crazy wingspan. Listen, on the Roommates podcast, when Josh Hart was talking about him, all-time tamperer, by the way. Josh Hart, all-time tamperer. And when he was referring to Mikal Bridges, he referred to him as 6'10", actually. But I think he was maybe, being a little bit nice to his buddy. I mean, the thing that we're not talking about is that he doesn't ever miss a game.
Since high school.
Now, I'm going to do the obligatory knock on wood, but with this guy, it's like, he's an absolute Iron Man. He's like the next coming of AC Green. It's just an absolute home run by Leon the Don. Okay, completing the Nova Quartet. I've heard a lot of people say things about, Infinity Stone, this and that. You heard it here first before you heard anyone else. I put out a podcast the night of the trade and called them the Nova Quartet. You heard it here first. And I got to go ahead and throw a shout out to my man, Lil Wayne, a.k.a. Weezy, because he's got two lines that are all his fans will know that really apply. We've said before when it comes to Leon that real G's move in silence like lasagna. And he also threw out the line, it ain't tricking if you got it. And that's the thing about these picks. Who fucking cares about the picks in 2028, 29, and 31? We're going for it right now, man. We're going for it right now. And just like you said, we put ourselves in a position where we could overwhelm a team that wanted to do business with us less than anyone else in the entire NBA. Clearly, that just makes sense. There's so many people, including myself, who always just felt like the Bridges deal would never get done simply for that reason. I just felt like there was no possible way, but people were making offers of multiple first-round picks for Bridges last year at the trade deadline. He is a very valuable player on both ends. He got second overall in Defensive Player of the Year and was first-team defense just a couple years ago. He's averaged 26 points a game in this league. He is overall seems like great teammate and good guy. The only issue I may have with him is his pregame dancing. He's got to cut that shit out. Okay. If he wants to be a New York Knick, him and Campaign used to do that shit together. All right. Okay. That was,
I didn't know it was him with Campaign. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah. They were both together on the Suns and they did that shit. And you got to cut that out. No more of that, Mikal. You're a Knick now. Is a real big boy organization with some class.
Time to grow up.
Yeah, Tibbs wouldn't have. I honestly think Tibbs would not be a fan of that. He would pull him aside and be like, "Yo, my man, we're not doing dance routines before the game."
I think Tibbs would just be upset about it. He wouldn't say anything. His face would say it all, and one of the other guys on the team would be like, "Yo, chill. Tibbs don't like that.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. Hold on. Speaking of Tibbs, Dad, I mean, Is the table that Tibbs is sitting at right now slightly at a lean? I mean, how excited is this guy at the fact that he now has OG on one side and Bridges on the other side to deploy defensively.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
This is like Tibbs Nirvana, man. Come on, man. That guy's having a great offseason. And he's about to get G'd off. They probably gave him a contract already, but they don't even say anything about it, knowing the way that Leon likes to do business and Tibbs ain't out here. I wouldn't be surprised. He's already signed, sealed, and delivered.
I think that could be the case with him and also with Brunson as well.
With a contract, okay.
Because I think that we're silly if we don't think through back channels that Brunson isn't saying to them something like, hey, listen, if we go ahead and we bring in Mikal Bridges, I'll definitely go ahead and sign that a year early and not get the super max and just get the max. That's fine with me.
He's talking about that over dinner with his dad, and then his dad is saying something when the coaches are together on a Zoom meeting or something.
Some way.
There's no doubt.
Yeah,
and that's not tampering or not tampering, but it's not. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as they do it through the proper channels, yes, there's nothing wrong with that. And I mean, as long as they don't, just as long as they do it in conversation, don't send a text message or an email about it. Just have a conversation, and everything should be fine. Though I did see Tyrese Halliburton the other day. He said he's in a group chat with Jalen Brunson and with Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart from the USA team, and he said if the NBA needs any tampering evidence, just come to me. I got it. I got the receipts.
Well, I also heard Bam Adebayo.
He said, there's definitely some tampering going on.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what I forget.
OG, Jalen, what's his name? JB Brunson texted back, yo, chill.
Yeah, listen, we already got. I don't care. Give whatever the penalty is.
Pick behind that last time.
We lost a second round pick on Brunson. Okay, overall, I think we won that one. So but you don't want to do that, and I don't even know. I think that's more about front office people. I don't even know if players can tamper or whatever. I
don't think it's a big deal.
It's not gonna. No, they would not be talking about it like this if it was. I also saw that Jalen Brunson put up on his Twitter something about OG, let me hold something after OG Anunoby went ahead and got re-signed as well. And now we have OG back. We got him back at 5 years, $212 million. It is backloaded, giving us a little bit more flexibility early on in the contract, and therefore, especially with new TV deals and things like that, the overall salary cap will just continue to raise. So, in the fourth year of this contract, it probably won't even look like anything too crazy. And again, man, Leon Rose, making sure he gets it done, not letting this guy get out, him not taking a whole lot less, but taking a little bit less than some people say that was out there. I hear he had another $30 million on the table that he decided to look away from. And also, the one more point I wanted to make about Bridges, think about the fact that we took Quentin Grimes and we traded him for Bogey and for Alec Burks. Neither of those guys played as well as we would have liked them to, especially in the regular season. But we now have Bogey and that large $19 million salary for next year, that option that we can accept and make this move. And that's how we make the money work. Also, another question I want to ask you is, have you seen anything about what we may have to add as far as salary to this deal to make the money work once the actual details become official?
What do you mean, to make the
Bridges deal?
Bridges? I have no idea. I don't know. I mean, we won't have to add another player.
You're not going to like this. No, we are going to have to add a player, and it's likely either going to be Sims or could possibly be Deuce. Now the report that I read, it's just a money thing. It's just it's just a dollar amount thing. It could be Jeffries, it could be that kid Diakate, however you say his name.
All those guys.
Yes, get rid of those guys. Don't give up Deuce. When I saw that Alex Caruso and that the Knicks were in on that, but we didn't get him. I like Alex Caruso's game, but I almost feel like Deuce can mature into a Alex Caruso type. Deuce had surgery actually today on his toe. He had some sort of fracture in his toe. He had surgery. But yeah, man, I really hope that we don't give up Deuce. But I did see a report that said that we could that we explored including Deuce to make the money work, but we have now come back off of that and said that we're going to try to figure out another way to get it done.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the Knicks The Knicks have them by the you know what right now. There's no way they can back out. If we said if we just went hardline and said we're not giving up Deuce, they got to make it work somehow. They got to take one of these other guys, as it is only a salary dump, and they're
I
going to
don't
cut
even
that
think
person
for them
anyway.
it's a
Right.
like it's
I
them.
don't
It's
think they
just
push
about the
that.
numbers
Right. Right.
coming together. Sure.
There's zero chance at this point could go back on this trade. It would be
They
a
got a great deal
disaster.
too. It's a great
Exactly.
deal for that's the thing. It's a great deal for both sides. They obviously need to start over. They need a war chest of picks. They don't need a player of Mikal Bridges' caliber next year getting them unnecessary wins. They're trying to build up for that 25 draft, and it's a good trade for both sides. That's the
It
only
is.
way something like this comes together.
It is because they would have traded him somewhere else, like you said. But he also, I heard, went to them and said, "I want to be traded to the Knicks, and if you
Mhm.
try to trade me to somebody else, I'm going to let them know I just want to be on the Knicks, and so don't trade for me." And so they were kind of between a rock and a hard place. And the Knicks just made it so that see now the Knicks could have been real jerks about it after he said that and said, "Okay, we're offering you 3 picks."
Right.
And that would have just made the whole thing fall apart because now the guys in Brooklyn don't want to be made a fool of, and I get that. But instead, the Knicks threw him the 5 picks. Okay, fine, here, take them, give us our guy, and that's it. We're done. I love that. I love that. There's
Another
a
note
time
on
when you
Deuce,
got
real
to
quick.
go for it.
Another note on Deuce, real quick. If we include Deuce, all right, I need 2 picks back. That's my point. That
Right.
would be at least my thought process on it.
Right.
So yeah, they want to make sure
They're
that
not
they
going to
keep
do
the
that.
picks. Yeah, no way.
That's right. No way.
The other thing that I thought about, Dad, was that if we had given up that haul for Paul George,
Oh
I would have convinced myself that it made sense. I'd have been like, listen,
no,
man,
I
we
would
don't
not
need the
have.
picks. We're
I would
trying
not.
to. I didn't want Paul George, but Paul George
No,
is
no.
wildly expensive, and he is an
Older.
upgrade, and he is good. He's 34, about to be 35. I mean, but I'm telling you, I would have not been happy immediately,
I would
but I
not
would have
do it.
figured out a way to be like, you know what, we're going for it now. Da 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 da. And it's just Bridges is such a better fit in every single way. Age, availability, contract, like you said, chemistry. It's insane that we are keeping all of these guys together. That we're bringing all of these guys together. And at this point, Dad, I'm sorry, Knicks, figure it out. Jay Wright needs to be a consultant. Somehow, some way, he needs to be a consultant. Just get him in the building. You know why? I don't want Jay Wright to decide he wants to coach somewhere in the NBA.
He already came out and said he has no interest in all
Sure,
that,
sure,
blah,
sure.
blah, blah. But, Nick, I don't know that I want him anywhere in the building because then all of the chatter will be, oh, Jay Wright's waiting in the wings. Well, as soon as we have a 4-game losing streak, oh, Jay Wright's waiting in the wings. No, come on, stop.
See, I think there's
What's
less
his
of
name?
that chatter. I
He
think
can
there's less
speak
of that
to he
chatter.
can speak to Jay Wright anytime he wants.
I think there's less of that chatter if he's just like some sort of consultant than there is if he's just, he's just a guy with, no job doing March Madness
Why? You didn't hear
commentary.
anything like that this past year?
No,
And
it's
they're
not.
green noble.
I'm not even saying that. That's my reason for wanting to bring him in as a consultant is not about the fact that I think it will make more or less chatter about him some point taking over. I just want him in the building just because he's their coach and we have 4 of them. And I also think that Arcidiacono should be our 15th man. Let's figure out a way to make it, put him on the team somehow. Just come on, everybody. I'm going to start pulling for Villanova.
Jay Wright was their coach. Tibbs is their coach now.
Yes, but he was their coach. You know what I mean. Bring him in. Why not? Why not? Bring in everybody from Villanova.
Call him on the
phone. So OG's deal, 5 years, 212. Like I said, backloaded. How did you feel about that deal? How did you feel about the numbers when you first saw them?
Look, it's all relative, right? It's almost like quarterbacks in football. The next guy's going to get the next big contract and the next big contract. He's the highest paid player on the team now, highest paid player ever in Knicks history, right? Clearly not the greatest Knick ever, but it's just all about the next salary. I do like the fact that he left $30 million on the table. There's a lot of guys in the past who said, well, I'm going to get every last penny. And I think that's, penny wise, pound foolish. It would just be a foolish thing. All of these guys, I think that I'm hoping when we're going to get to this next, that Hartenstein sees it the same way. There's more to be done here in New York. And as I understand, well, as you said earlier, like Philadelphia, his ex-coach, who he was on a championship team with, wasn't he on that championship team in Toronto? Anunoby?
Yes, he was,
Yeah.
but he got hurt,
He
so he
got
didn't
hurt.
play.
He got
He
hurt, so he
didn't
didn't
play
play
much
much.
down the stretch or in the playoffs.
Right, but that's his coach. That team offered him max money, and he said no to them to come with us. That says a lot to me, man. That's good stuff. I'm not worried about the money. We'll, the only thing that matters, of course, is the salary cap and all that second apron stuff. Listen, man. I have enough work to do with numbers throughout the day. We'll let Leon Rose and the people, the numbers crunchers and the bean counters behind there figure all that out. I'm not smart enough to know all that second apron stuff. I think they obviously know what they're doing. You see what they did last night with the draft picks just to gain some more money. You know what I'm saying, man? They're on top of it, man. It's not some slapdick or operation. They got their shit together. So I trust everything they do.
Yeah, and as you said, the maneuvering that they did in the draft, trading away one pick, moving back, it comes down to them adding $3 million of available money. And with OG taking the number that he did take, we now seem like we will be able to offer Isaiah Hartenstein that max, which is 4 years at 72.5. Now, we have his early bird rights, so therefore other teams can go above and beyond that. I was so annoyed yesterday when I saw this guy, Nick Claxton, got 4 years, $100 million. I'm like, that guy's getting $25 million a year. So now that sets the market, and Isaiah Hartenstein is now the next big fish when it comes to centers in the free agent market. And I've heard in the last 3 days, I've heard very unlikely we're going to get him back. Then I heard Knicks are trying to make it happen, and he's leaning towards Knicks. And then right before we got on, I read that the Knicks are getting more pessimistic that they'll be able to sign him. So I don't know exactly what the deal is. I do know that he had his best year with the Knicks. He seems to really love New York. You've heard my theory before about the guys who come from money. They're more likely to take a team-friendly deal and worry about being in a good winning situation as opposed to just getting every single last penny. His dad was a professional basketball player over in Germany, so I'm assuming they were doing okay. Yeah, man, I really, really hope that we bring him back. And if it comes down to it and it ends up being something where we have to figure out a way to move Mitch, which it doesn't seem like, again, like you said, I'm no capologist, but it doesn't seem like we need to do that to be able to get Hartenstein back this year for the max that we can offer him, which, like I said, is that 16? It's like 18 and change, right? And so,
18 and change. No, it'll be 16 and change he would be getting, and that's the problem. It's other people
right,
will be
16
able
and
to
change.
offer him
Yes.
other people will be able to offer him like 20 million or more. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're telling me this guy Claxton got $25 million a year, I mean, Nick, I want Hardenstein to come back, but it's a lot of money to leave on the table if we can only offer you 16 and someone else is offering you 25 or 23.
So I don't think he's quite to that 25 number, but yes, I mean, another team could absolutely come in and blow him away with a deal. And, depending on not even depending on, unless it's in California, no matter what, it's going to be a much easier tax situation as well. So, the money gets even, and if it's Orlando, they're down in Florida, you got no state tax. You know what I mean? Like that's huge. So I don't know. I really, really hope we can bring him back. I think if we bring him back, man, I really start to get real bullish. Vegas believes in us.
Oh, boy.
We went from 15-1 to 10-1 after the Bridges trade. That's a big jump, for getting one player.
It's down to 7.5 to 1.
Yeah, and then yes,
I'm
and then
annoyed we didn't put money on 16 to 1. I mean, obviously you think about it now, but it's just like, why wouldn't we have done that after last season? As soon as the season was over, just throw $100, $200 on the Knicks.
It's silly. It's silly because we have to do it anyway. Because as I always say, we throw it down at the beginning of the season to pay for our trip back east, the parade when we do actually win the championship. So now we're really in the. I know. We blew it. We blew it on that. But I'm just happy to see that we're making moves. They're staying super aggressive while also being, tempered and smart with how they handle everything. Again, Bridges trade, no chit chat about it leading up to it. No hurt. It's just boom, Woj bomb. Let's go. And, I continue to see people say, oh, well, what does this mean for Julius Randle? We got to get rid of Julius. Those people are idiots. Julius fits this team so perfectly now, especially now. Everybody just falls into place. And I even saw a video today of Brunson taking shots like just outside the circle. So after the hand surgery, he's already out of a cast and taking shots like right outside of the restricted area. I saw a video of that he posted as well. So we're on the right path. Shout to my man Kevin Garnett. I love Kevin Garnett's one of my favorite players of all time. He's always holding us down in the media. He's always holding us down. He's always holding down Julius specifically. And he's like, yo, now that they got Bridges, he says they're the biggest, contender to the Boston Celtics. A lot of people are saying that now. Him, Big Perk, those guys, appreciate them for 4. And I think we're about to see peak Julius. I think Mikal Bridges is a guy who he would rather be the second or third option as opposed to being the guy who is being asked to create. He can create. And the thing that you notice about him, Dad, is that he is a danger anywhere on the floor. Yeah. He's one of those guys that if you run him off that 3-point line, he can get all the way to the rim. He can finish with both hands. And if you stop him at any point, but there's too much room, he can pull up and he can hit that mid-range all day. He's much more polished on offense than say like an OG. And I think that sometimes we're like, we're obsessed with OG and his defensive ability. This guy, like I said, he was second. He's second for defensive player of the year. He's made an all defensive team, and he's one of those is going to be guarding like the second or third best player on the other team. And we get to totally hide Brunson with length and ultimate switchability. It's a perfect home run. Whenever I've said before that I didn't want Mikal Bridges, it's because of the price tag that I thought we were going to have to get up. If you told me that we could get him for bogey and a bag of balls, sign me up.
Yeah. No, it's a fantastic deal all the way around. This guy, I did like Bogey, and he did play somewhat decently in the postseason. A couple games.
I like the idea of Bogey more than I actually like Bogey.
Yeah, and Burks is still here, right? I mean, for the time being, Burks is still with us.
I don't think so. I think Burks.
He does a free agent. Oh, okay.
I think so.
Okay. Well, if he can come back, he will. He loves Tibbs. Why not? He'd have a good time. But no, it's a great deal, Nick. I mean, there's nothing you could say but to be happy about all of this. And all the guys on the team are pumped. They're all very close. I'm sure Julius is pumped. I mean, come on, man. It just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah. I mean, it's an absolute home run. And then the day after, we have the NBA draft. And as we said, the Knicks did some wheeling and dealing, moving around their picks, acquiring later picks. If you want those details, find it somewhere else where we're not gonna play that all out. But what we come away with is Pacome Dadiet. How do you say Dadier? Yeah, he's French. I guess that would be Dadier. I just saw some highlights of him. He's big. He's 6'8". Seems like he's got nice form, nice jump shot. He shoots high percentages, and seems like he could be somebody who could be a player. And he's, like I said, these guys are they're going to be on the roster. We're not stashing him somewhere. He's almost.
No. I think he might be overseas, Nick.
But no. So originally they said that we were going to stash them, but the thing is that we can't bring in guys at vet minimums with where we're at as far as that second apron. Some of those guys at the end of the bench are going to, the Shake Miltons or like an Alec Burks type. Like, I mean, like Alec Burks, this guy, he made $10 million last year. He is a free agent, but we can't afford a guy like that at the end of the bench, or even like Shake Milton. Shake, I think, was making like $5 million last year. So it looks like some of these guys are going to play. And obviously, if you saw his press conference, Pacome, he's very intent on playing this year. And he seems to me like he could be an asset, man, a guy that can shoot and can handle the ball, pass a little bit at that size. And then in the second round, we picked up Tyler Kolek. Is it Kolek or Kolek? It's Kolek, right?
I don't know.
Whatever. This guy, I remember seeing him last year with Marquette. He's a shot maker. He's a distributor, led the nation in assists. And then today we picked up Kevin McCullough, who is a 6'6", 6'7" wing out of Kansas. He also played somewhere else before that. I think maybe like Texas Tech or something like that. And Texas Tech. And he is known to be a big-time defender. really digs in and takes
Intense.
pride in that, and clearly is, going to be a Tibbs favorite. I saw somebody say that about Colic as well, that he looks like he's going to be a guy that's going to be, really in that Tibbs cloth. And seemed all good to me. Not, they are positions of need. We needed a ball handler and a distributor. Colic is maybe arguably the best one of those in the draft. We needed another wing, another rangy guy. That became less of a need once we went out and got Bridges. But then, we go out, we get this guy, Pacome, whatever you want to call him, and he seems to be exactly that. And then McCullough is that defensive-minded guy that is going to mix well with Tibbs in this roster. Just looks like overall another great job, and we were also able to free up another $3 million to try to bring back Hartenstein and keep the band together.
It's all strategic. It's all chess, not checkers. I love what I'm reading about this kid from Marquette. Colic. The read up on him is very exciting. Sounds like he's definitely a Tibbs kind of guy, and the kind of guy that maybe you can get 10 minutes a game out of. Playing with the second unit. And, like I think I mentioned to you earlier, this kid from overseas, Rokas, it's not looking good for him now.
Rokas
Jacobitis. Yeah.
Jacobitis.
I liked him, what I've seen of him, and he's supposed to be over here for Summer League. Listen, most of these guys are going to be here for Summer League. Let's see him. Let's see it. That starts, July 19th. So that's going to be exciting. So, can't wait for those games to come on TV. Just anything with a Knicks name or logo on it right now is very exciting.
Yeah, man, it's great times, and October can't get here soon enough.
Nope, exactly. Hey, and some people, who was it today? Perkins, Perk said that he thinks that maybe opening game will be Knicks Celtics.
I think opening day and also Christmas Day are foregone conclusion.
Well, yeah, they're going to play. It's going to be a later game on Christmas for the Knicks. We know that, right? They won't be. Well, no, they still might be the noon game because that's characteristically it. But I don't know. I'm thinking they could be a little more marquee on Christmas Day.
Well, I mean, the Knicks and the Celtics, they play each other on opening day. It seems like every season anyway. I mean, how many times has the Knicks Celtics been the first? It's been the first game of the season a few times in the last however many years. So
and they're probably going to do something close like Celtics or Philly, or they usually do somebody close.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we'll be noon Christmas, and I think we'll be opening night, and not just the first night, like the Knicks' first game of the season when it's not on opening night. I think it will be the marquee game, first game of the season in the entire NBA. And I can't wait. Julius is ahead of schedule. Brunson has got a ball in his hands again. Josh Hart, he said, Tibbs in their roommates interview, Tibbs said, yeah, just make sure you're putting your 500 threes up a game. I don't care where you do them. So he's putting up 500 threes a day. So he's putting up his 500 threes a day. Do you think DiVincenzo is a little bit salty right now at all?
I don't, because it's Bridges, and I think those guys know and love each other. When they showed, Josh Hart posted that
the four of them on a FaceTime.
I think if you're salty, you're not even on that. If you're DiVincenzo, I just don't think that's the case. Those guys are too close for this to be a sort of animosity. And you know what, Nick? Not to put a jinx on it or nothing, but listen, man, it's a long season, man. Injuries happen. Everybody's going to get to play.
OG's going to miss 20 games
at least.
Okay, so really, when you look at it, that somebody's going to miss some significant time, and then you can almost say that OG's going to miss 20 games. You just hope that it all works out in your favor, that everybody is healthy when it's time to start and get through the postseason. But at the end of the day, when OG's out, then Bridges moves to the 2, and Ragu is, he's coming in as the starting. I'm sorry, Bridges moves to the 3, and then Ragu comes in, and he's our starting shooting guard. And I love the idea of just Deuce and Ragu coming off the bench. Maybe this guy Colic, maybe he fights and deserves some numbers as well. But that bench unit now becomes a strength like it was for us before guys started going down, and that strength is even magnified more now that we have Mikal Bridges. Is it Mikal or Mikal? I feel like
I think it's Mikal. That's what I've heard more. But no, listen though. I think also, too, Tibbs is the kind of coach, and he will establish with this team early, look, man, everybody's going to play, but just understand, besides, say, like Brunson, everybody, and listen, even Brunson, if he's not having a good game, and let's say Deuce is killing it, Deuce may play more down the stretch that particular game. Doubtful, but maybe once or twice. Same thing with Bridges and Ragu. You're going to get some of that. So I think he's going to go with the hot hand late in a lot of these games, and I think everybody's going to get to play. Everybody's going to get to play.
Yeah, I think everything's going to get to play. Everybody's going to get to play. Everything's going to work out fine. I think that, Tibbs is going, with the team so deep, Tibbs is going to be able to avoid the minutes police and everybody giving him such a hard time, because I think there's going to be plenty of minutes to go around. And hopefully, we're winning 60 something games and there's plenty of blowouts to be able to let everybody get, some time out there. It's just a really, really exciting time. And, Leon Rose, we've already named one pet Leon. As we've said before, your name backwards is Leon. We should have known back then that this was going to be the greatest time in Knicks history once we got him at the head of the entire thing. But I don't know, man. I feel like I got to name something else Leon now. Or maybe if I get like a female, you know what? I can't say this too loud, but there's been talk about possibly getting another feline in House Goodrich too. And if we do, and it's a female, I think we're going to go ahead and have to name it Rose.
That's weird. Why
get an orange tabby, and name it Rose. That's kind of a red look to it. Okay, that's the move. If you are feeling the content, or you think we are two loathsome, offensive brutes, and yet you can't look away, give us a thumbs up and a 5-star rating. Make sure you subscribe and or hit that notification button on YouTube or wherever you're listening. Help us out, guys. Help us out.
Come on.
The New York Mets, they throttled the New York Yankees, scoring 21 runs in a 2-game series sweep this week. We knocked around their 2 best pitchers, Cole and Heel. They've both been fantastic this year. The Mets are 15-6 in the month of June. Most runs scored and highest OPS in all of baseball. And they now have gotten back to 500 at 39-39. Talk to me, big guy. How we feeling about those Mets?
Pumped, man. My man Frankie Lindor. You put him in the leadoff spot. No, he's done a great job. Team's done a great job. Mendoza's doing a good job, obviously. Still a very long season, long time to go. We're still a game and a half out of the wild card, but it's exciting. I mean, for us to come back and turn it around like this and have the best month in all of the major leagues in the month of June after having the worst month. I mean, and it's so funny because it's exactly what we spoke about before when we were talking like, oh well, it's still early, and so many people saying, "Oh, we're going to be sellers. We're going to be sellers." Well, what are you saying now? Things change so much in the MLB, and I'm sure we said before, all we need is like one of those 15-3 stretches and whatnot, and that's exactly what happened. So, I mean, listen, you just hope it doesn't reverse the other way again. But if we can keep on this, even keel and keep it moving, and I feel like, it's not like we're just doing amazing things and having amazing way. I feel like what we're doing can be duplicated as we've been doing and keep doing it. I really do believe that. So let's hope. And listen, we're doing all of this with Pete Alonso not even playing well. Alonso's not even really hot. He's gotten better, but he's not smashing the ball like we've seen him smashing in years past. So let's hope he picks it up, and that'll be another element. But Alvarez is really giving us some life.
The Alvarez effect. It's so palpable, man. I mean, all of the different players, they talk about it. You can see it on the field, his attention to detail, the way he handles the pitchers, the way he encourages them, and the way he just is absolutely raking right now. He's gotten his average up to 313. He was 3 for 3 in the finale of that Subway Series. The Yankees are going the opposite way. They're 2-8 in their last 10. And, the Giancarlo Stanton annual trip to the DL or IL, it's called now, for a hammy. I mean, that's just, you just know that's coming. And now you look at them and that lineup, man, it's like, okay, your first 3 or 4 are pretty good, but after that, it's kind of a black hole. And, with Cole needing a little bit more time to get right, With Hill, all of a sudden he's not looking like the absolute world beater he was at the beginning of the season. And, people in Yankee land are a little bit nervous right now. Luckily, the Orioles have been scuffling recently, so therefore, they're not that they haven't lost the lead. Listen, they're still 50-32. It's a long season.
Right.
You're going to have ups and downs, but you know how Yankees fans are. As soon as things start to go bad, they start panicking. And it was nice to see us smash them, putting up 21 runs in the 2-game series, and taking big blows from Judge, but being able to withstand those and still win, and without Diaz. And we had to piece together some bullpen performances from some different guys. In the first game, we bended, but we didn't quite break. Second game, we hold them to 2 runs. We shut them down and walk out and walk into this now weekend series against the Astros, who are also red hot, who also just got back to 500 after a early season disappointing start. And they are now at 40-40, and they've won 7 straight, and they'll bring that to Citi Field this weekend.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting against those guys, the Stros. But listen, man, the Yankees will figure it out. They always do. So I mean, Yankee fans who are just screaming now. But I mean, seriously, they just calm down. They're just, they're having a tough time right now. But it's still very, very, very early. And as far as a little disappointed in Sugar the other night with that foolishness with the sticky stuff.
Hold on. But you're
I
disappointed in him?
I am disappointed in him, Nick, because I think his hand was too damn sticky. I think if you look at the umpire's reaction, yeah, you say, should they have let him wash his hands, whatever. I don't know. I don't know about any of that. What I do know is that when the lead ump came up and touched his head, you just saw his face like, come on. He was just like, come on.
There has to be
there
has to be a consistent process with this, though.
Okay, fine. The process might be wrong, Nick. The process is not great. But, Sugar's come into the game many times and not gotten thrown out. This time.
Every time. He gets checked every time he comes into a game.
All of them do.
So I think that there has to be some. I don't think that
he had too much on his hands.
I know. I think this ump just got a little bit, overzealous this time. And this is the 3rd year in a row that this has happened to a Mets pitcher. To me, it seems to be extremely inconsistent. You can't let one guy wash his hands and not let another guy wash his hands. And then, it's one of those things where, so this ump makes a decision, and right then automatically it's 10 games and there's nothing that you can do. Like, I think that's bullshit.
He can appeal. He chose not to appeal.
But how? But the thing is that the appeal process is a sham, because how do you appeal? That's what everybody said. There's no point of appealing, because with this particular thing, you can appeal about other things and they can reduce it. How are they going to go back and look at your hand and say, actually, it wasn't that sticky? You know what I mean? It's just
wouldn't help. The whole probably wouldn't help.
Bullshit. The whole process is bullshit. And, if I don't think that Sugar went out there that day with way more sticky stuff than he typically does. I think that he probably understands the amount that he can use. And if he, overshot that a little bit, then say, okay, that's a bit much. And he goes and washes his hands and he comes back to saying like, okay, no. We're going to take your closer, the highest paid closer in the game, and he's now gone for 10 games, but we let this other guy go wash his hands. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I disagree. I think he had too much on his hands.
I'm not even saying whether or not he did have too much or not. The process of determining it's too much and letting one guy remove it and letting another guy not remove it is bullshit. I think it's just, I don't even understand how an entity like Major League Baseball could have a process with so much variance. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Breaking news, your boy LeBron James was able to bring in his son. We see the first father-son combination in NBA history. Bronny drafted 55th overall to the Lakers. This just happened, and it's an interesting topic. We didn't prepare for this, but with it just happening, I know I definitely have some opinions on it. What do you think about Bronny getting drafted 55th overall and going to join his pops?
I don't have a problem with the whole idea. People say, oh, it's nepotism, all that. Nepotism is common. Everybody does it. If you can do something good for your child, you're going to do it. Fine, no problem. I don't know that this is necessarily something good for Bronny. The pressure that's going to be on him. I think Bronny personally, from the looks of things, from everything I'm hearing people say, he needs to go play in like the G League or something. Like, he needs to play. He
That'll
doesn't
happen.
need to be sitting on. Okay, good, good. But you know what? No. But you know what? Like they said, somebody said, "Well, don't even talk to us about a two-way."
No, he doesn't have to have a two-way to play in the G League. He can
Okay.
be on the roster. And one of the things is that the Lakers, they're one of the teams that their team is in market. You know what I mean? It's not
Right.
some
Far
team
away
somewhere. It's not the
in
the
Albuquerque.
Coachella
Right.
Lakers or
No,
some shit.
but
So
I think that I think the kid, it puts way too much pressure on the kid. He's not good enough for this kind of pressure, and the kind of pressure people are going to want to see him on the court when he just isn't ready for all of that right now. I don't think, unless what everything was. He shot pretty well in the combine, but sorry, that's with nobody else on the court. Um, I don't know, man. I just worry that it might be a little too much pressure for him. I think it'll be tough to put him on the court with his dad. I think it'll be tough not to put him on the court if he's sitting on the bench, especially in some games if there's a blowout. So then it becomes. But then again, you see the same thing with Giannis and his brother, right? This guy's on the team solely because of his brother. He never gets in the game till the end. But I would hate to see that happen with Ronnie, that he just becomes like a stand-in, like a stagehand. I just want to see him have a good chance. But at the end of the day, he just might not be good enough to play in the NBA. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to see it get rough on the kid.
So first and foremost, as far as the nepotism aspect, it's nonsense. In nepotism, not just all over the world, but specifically in sports. I mean, how many sons of coaches become coaches? How many look all the way up to ownership. Most of these guys that own these teams, they own it because their dad owned it first. You know what I mean? So,
right.
At
but
the
that's
end of the
inheritance. That's not nepotism.
But it's okay. Well, it's okay. That's an inheritance. It's not nepotism, but it's the same. It's the fact that you are put in the position that you are because of somebody above you, mainly a parent. So, I mean, I have no issue with that aspect of it at all. If I'm the Lakers, I want to make LeBron happy. And also, it's the 55th pick. Take a shot, roll a dice. It's not like, you're looking at this guy to be a huge contributor anyway. And as we know from being Knicks fans, getting that familial vibe within your organization, I think is a good thing. I don't think that's a bad thing when it comes to overall culture setting. And this young man, he had a cardiac arrest and didn't play for 5 months. Mm-hmm. He had to deal with the fact that not only could you not play for 5 months, but I'm sure mentally coming back from something like that is not easy. Okay. No. And he is somebody that at every level, everybody says he's a great teammate, great kid to be around. He is more well prepared for this than any person probably ever has been, due to the fact that he grew up with his dad. And I just don't see how you could not do this if you're the Lakers. It makes total sense on every single level. You're not drafting at 55, like I said, a guy who can contribute. And the other thing is, I've heard plenty of scouts say that if you look at some of his tape, obviously he had a slow start because of what happened to him. But if you look at his tape and you look at what he did in the combine, he definitely has the ability to be an NBA basketball player and be an NBA basketball player for years to come. I just don't even see, if you're the Lakers, how PR wise and, overall atmosphere wise, how you could not take this guy if he's there at 55.
No, I see taking him and everything, but I mean, the other problem is, Nick, I mean, he's 6'1". He doesn't. He's not a great shooter. You see, most guys who are 6'1" in this league are great shooters. They're great.
I've seen many people say that they think that he can become a very good shooter. And he's not a.
Everybody has that ability if they can raise their hand above their head and push.
No. But I mean, I'm not saying that.
27% in school.
Yeah,
he shot 27%. I mean, that's not good, but maybe he'll get better. I hope so. But
I think when people say that someone can become a good shooter, they're talking about more so mechanics and just what they see from, comparing them to maybe another young player at that time who was able to develop into that as they got forward. He's going to put in the work. You know, he's got a strong
I
work
think he's a
ethic.
hard worker. Hard worker. The other thing I worry about, Nick, is that say you're this guy's teammate in that locker room. Can you really be real with him? I mean, can you really just be as real as you want to when his dad, who is LeBron James, is sitting right there? You know what I mean? There's certain things you're going to think twice about saying in front of this man's father, Nick. It's just
You mean
different.
basketball wise, or just like?
No, just there in the locker room, everything, Nick. It's just different because his father is right there. Nobody's going to be saying to him. I mean,
Can you
Nick,
give me an example of something that you would like maybe not want to say to him because his dad's there?
certain things. I mean, like last night, what we were doing last night, or what we're gonna do tonight, or what are you doing after practice? I don't know, Nick. It's not like it's his father and he's 15, but it's still his dad, and his dad is LeBron James. It's just. And he did say, I want to make it on my own and all that. And I get that. And that's the right thing to say. And he said all the right things. He seems like a fantastic young man. I just wonder that it's a tough situation to be there with that kind of pressure. When you came on the trading floor, Nick, I wouldn't have necessarily, if it got to that, wanted you in the same trading ring as me. I would not have wanted that because then certain things that would have happened to you in the trading ring, people would have turned around and looked at me for my reaction instead of letting you just stand on your own, because I've been down there for 25 years. It's just different, man. It's different.
No, I can appreciate that. That's not necessarily something that I thought of. I did think to myself earlier, like, when it comes to certain locker room talk and things that you would talk about in the locker room, are you necessarily going to want to have those conversations in front of your dad? I thought about that more so from his point of view than other people talking to him. But
or check this out. Check this out. Suppose you have a legitimate beef in the locker room with Bronny and whatnot. How different would that be if his dad wasn't LeBron James and his dad wasn't there? You guys might have an actual beef and figure it out like two men. If something like that comes out now, Nick, you cannot tell me that the person that has an issue with Bronny is not going to pull it back some because LeBron James is his dad and he runs the team and he's LeBron James. You can't really get at this kid like you would if that was his dad and he wasn't right there. Come
I
on,
think
Nick.
if it's about
No way.
basketball, I think if it's about
It's
basketball
about
stuff,
basketball and he gets at him, you could be off the team the next day.
yeah, but I think that before you would even get at him, Bron would be getting at him. That's
Maybe,
the thing,
Nick.
is I think that Bron has, I don't think that Bron sugarcoats. If just from the things I've seen about them and their relationship and the interactions I've seen, Bron, some really good videos of like Bron, like especially when his kids were younger, like getting after them, like when they're playing or whatnot, and encouraging them and doing all those things.
Nick.
I just don't. I don't think there's going to be a time where some other guy's going to have some issue with him basketball wise, and he's going to be like, yeah, but I can't say this to him because then LeBron might be upset. I don't see that.
They definitely might think twice about that because, it might have something to do with their longevity on the team, number one. Number two, you know what? Braun might get on his son and all that, Nick. And I thought you would see this now, but you will definitely see it when you get older and your kids get older. Braun might get on his kid and all that. That's totally different than somebody else getting on your kid. Okay? Somebody else might say something to your kid that's totally right and get on him about it, but you might be like, shut the fuck up. You're talking to my child.
Yeah, but not when it's about basketball.
Yeah, maybe even when it's about basketball, Nick, it's still your child, man. Okay, we'll see.
Listen, I have kids. I have kids who have played sports, and I definitely realize
older,
that I'm going to be, I'm definitely going to be way more defensive about everything that has to do with them. And I'm definitely going to, look at it with more of a microscope. And I'm usually going to probably lean towards them, when it comes to who I favor in a particular dispute. Of course, I'm clearly biased, but the idea of a coach or another player getting after them, even if I maybe don't necessarily agree, with that coach as far as strategically or game plan wise what they're saying. I don't see that. I've definitely had. I had my coach Ruiz. He was crazy. He'd go crazy, yell in my face and on the sidelines or whatever. With you sitting a few rows away. I'd like to hope that I'd be able to deal with that, but I can't say that until I'm in that situation. I personally, just from looking at them from the outside, when it comes to basketball conversations, I don't think LeBron will ever have an issue with somebody being too hard on his son, as long as it's about basketball.
Well, I think somebody could say something to your child and You know, it could be the exact same thing you might think, but you have an issue with the way they speak to your child because it's your child. Um, I think it's a tough dynamic, man. I think it's going to be an interesting dynamic, and I think there are going to be many good times. There's going to be a lot of good things. There just may be some moments where, maybe some moments where it's better for Bron if his dad wasn't in the room, is what I'm saying. Where Bron needs to just handle that. Bronny can handle it on his own as a young man, and that's how he becomes a man. You know, if with his dad in the room, certain things are not going to be said to him because his dad's in the room, and certain things his dad's not going to want to hear said to his boy. I mean, I don't care if the guy's right or wrong. He's not going to want somebody coming in the game and say, "Yo, Bronny, man, what the fuck, man? You play like shit, man. What the fuck?" No, no.
See, I don't think that'll bother LeBron in the slightest. I really don't. And
Okay.
I think that LeBron will do a fantastic job of navigating, addressing, and handling the situation from beginning. He'll probably say some shit from the entire team about, hey man, he's a ball with whatever. And I think that there'll be different things that come up that they're not even anticipating, and we surely aren't. And I got faith in LeBron to be able to, just like I said, navigate that entire scenario.
He's a good father, no doubt about it.
Yeah, can't really argue with that for sure. And it'll just be interesting. And I just think it's cool, man. I think it's cool overall. Like, that whole Ken Griffey Jr. and his dad hitting home runs back to back when they do have some garbage time, or if Bronny plays himself into deserving some minutes, the idea of like him throwing his dad a oop. I just think it's going to be fucking cool, man. I think this is something historic, and it's a really, really awesome thing for this to come about. And it's another notch on his belt and another testament to LeBron that this guy is still one of the top players in the league and still in the league when his son gets into the league. It's insane.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. Yeah, no doubt about that.
Make sure you hit that like, tell all your friends, and give us a subscribe and follow on all platforms. We are trying to retire the big guy from his day job, and every little bit counts.
Yeah, right.
Power slap. Dana White has recently been making the rounds on a lot of different podcasts, many of them that are some of my weekly listens, and everywhere he has been, he brings up Power Slap, as he has now started that league. He got exposed to it about 15 months ago. He says saw a slap fighting video, something out of Poland or Russia, and now this is they're sanctioned. They're technically a professional sport. They are sanctioned in quite a few states. And you got Paige Van Zant, who is one of the more popular female fighters coming out of the UFC, 6-year UFC veteran. She will be fighting in this Friday's event on the 28th. I'm interested to hear your take on this. We haven't talked about it much. What do you think of Power Slap? Have you seen any clips online? Just, overall, how do you feel about it?
I've seen clips before. I haven't seen anything recently. I think it's stupid. I think it's a waste of time. I don't think I'll be watching. It's
going to be on Rumble.
I clearly won't be watching because I don't even know what that is. I think watching two people stand there and slap one another is idiotic. I'd be very surprised if this caught on. And frankly, if it does catch on and it's a moving train, it's going to leave the station without me.
So I've never watched the full event. I've seen a ton of the clips online. I must admit there's been some times where I have gotten caught up watching the clips and, probably spent a little bit more time watching them than I would like to. And
are they sitting or standing?
Standing. They're standing and they're like holding on to something. And then there's somebody like behind them to catch them. And like, you can't palm strike. It has to be with not your like heel of your palm. It's got to be, with the softer part of your hand. And, you can't, move with it. You can't slip it. You got to sit there and you got to take it. And, I've seen one of the biggest people in slap boxing. She actually had a knockout overruled because they went to the tape and they came up with the decision that the other woman palm striked her. So, there is some rules and regulations around it. Obviously there has to be for, them to be able to get it, sanctioned and
sanctioned.
Yeah.
So what do you think it has to be for them to get it sanctioned? I mean, that it has
the
to
athletic
be
commission
by the
has
real sport. I
The
know, Nick,
athletic
but
commission has to listen. The athletic commission at one point didn't want to sanction the UFC because they felt like and they had to do things like eliminate the 12-6 elbow, which is stupid, makes no sense. So there is a process when it comes to getting these things sanctioned by the athletic commission. I'm sure Dana White's got a little bit of pull in those circles. So I'm sure that happened. I'm sure that has something to do with it. And I've never watched the full event. I'm going to watch the full event tomorrow because I've seen Dana White talk about it enough that I want to, I want to see what this full event looks like. I want to see what it looks like with Dana White and the UFC's power and production and how they're going to make this seem more legitimate. And as far as the overall sport and the health of it and the health of the league, and as far as the ability to get it sanctioned and put it on in front of the public. I've heard Dana White say this, and I don't think there's any sort of argument about it. It's in way, way better shape than the UFC was back when Dana White got the UFC. And we see what he's done with that. Now, just as far as just some raw numbers, okay? He bought it 15 months ago. It's now a $750 million business. It dominates social media, billions of views, more YouTube subscribers than the NHL, MLS, NASCAR, or PGA. 8 out of the 12 YouTube shorts from all sports categories, 1 through 12, 8 out of the 12 are from Power Slap, including all sports. 4 of the 5 largest YouTube shorts on the UFC channel, all Power Slap. More followers than any U.S. professional sports team. I don't know if I'm going to watch this event tomorrow and be all in on Power Slap moving forward. What I do know, or what I'm very, very confident about, is that it's going to be successful. It's been around for 15, 20 years over in Poland and Russia. And if you look at the numbers and what it's done, I mean, at the end of the day, in today's world, YouTube subscribers is about the best metric that you can give as far as success as when it comes to just about anything in media and measuring it. And the fact that it has more subscribers than the NHL, MLS, NASCAR, or the PGA Tour, I think says a ton. And the overall views, it's got over 1 billion views on YouTube between all their different videos. People love it. People like to see it. When you see a clip and you know that one of these men or women is about to slap this other one, it's hard to look away. As far as the entire event, I'll see and report back later.
Right. I mean, I get it why people want to look at it. It's like, like anything else. It's watching a train wreck, watching a car wreck, watching things that are, eye-catching. But I don't know, maybe popular with some. I just don't think I'll be into it too much. I may peek in every now and again, but it's not for me.
Catch us every week on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. Please follow, like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification button on all platforms. Really appreciate all the love. You can find us on all socials at he_did this to me. Love you, big guy.
Love you, kid.